Aaron, if you'll do me a favor, when you're not speaking, can you mute yourself just so there's less background noise and whatnot?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, appreciate you. All right, Fro. So I guess we'll start. I guess we could just pick up kind of where you and Aaron was. If you want to ask me the questions that you asked him last time, kind of bring me your concerns with Christianity, I guess.
All right. Well, we could start with you. You hear me? Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with do you believe that Christianity is the best way to get your morals?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think that the only way to have a fulfilled moral vision is through Christianity, but that doesn't mean that atheists can't have morality.
Okay, but like Christianity has like a higher sense of morality, right? Because it comes from God.
Well, yeah, I mean, the ultimate morality is, I guess, recognizing Jesus as Lord and Savior and kind of abiding by Christian morality. Yes.
All right. Do you So, but like, how am I gonna put this? So Christianities have a higher sense of morality since it comes straight from God, right? But so everything that God does is moral.
Yeah, I hold a divine command theory. Yeah.
And do you believe in objective morality or subjective morality?
Objective.
Okay, so first off, let's start with that. Where do morals exist if there's no humans?
They just exist. They are. So it's a universal truth. So it doesn't have a physical existence. It's immaterial.
So for animals, it counts.
What do you mean?
Like, do animals have morality? Because if
No,
there's no
because
humans, then the morality, like, what would morals apply to if there's no humans?
they don't have a soul. They're not created in the image of God. So they're not. They don't have a soul like we do. They don't have a consciously deciding soul. So they're not held to the same standard.
All right, but I'm saying, like, if there's no humans, though, your morality exists, but it doesn't exist for the creatures that exist. If there's no humans.
Because the reason why is if God exists and morality is grounded in God, then morality exists, but that doesn't mean it's applied to animals because, like I said, they are not created in God's image.
Okay, all right. So everything that God does is moral, right?
It's good, yes.
Good and moral. Okay. So the issue I'm having is that something like child sacrifice or human sacrifice or killing innocents, like killing children, killing innocents, non-combatants, that's something me as somebody who doesn't believe in God, I can always say 100% of the times is wrong. But when it comes to Christianity, your God has done each of those things. So it seems to, like we established last time, killing babies is good if God does it, is what y'all ended up saying. Or
Well,
what the guy I was debating ended up saying.
yeah.
So go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing is before I even get into what your argument is going to be, I want to ask, where did your morality come from if you're judging the Bible on morality?
I think I view morality as subjective because it changes for literally every person. Like, not even every Christian has the same sense of morality. It changes based on their denominations and their personal beliefs.
But
So
you just said 100% of the time killing innocent children is wrong.
that's how I feel about it. Yeah, that's my
Yeah, that's how you
personal
feel.
morality for it.
So if it's your personal morality, how does that give you any basis to judge something objectively, like the Bible?
That's exactly what I'm saying, though, is that I don't have a basis for it. It just comes from me, but I can be more moral than a God that's supposed to be of infinite
You
love.
can't be more moral if it's subjective. That doesn't make sense. If it's subjective, that's like me saying that I'm smarter than you because subjectively I'm smarter than you. I believe I'm smarter.
Well, so,
Sense.
but you would say that killing babies is okay, right? If God does it, it's good. Not even okay, it's good, right?
It has to. It depends on the context. It depends on the history of it, the context surrounding it. What you're talking about.
So it's subjective, right?
No.
But it depends on the context. Wait.
That's different.
That.
Contextual is different from objective versus subjective. For example,
objective means it doesn't change, though. You're saying that the morality doesn't change, but it
doesn't
change
depending on the context. Not everything. That doesn't mean everything is going to remain 100% the same across all contexts.
That's what objectivity is, though.
No, it's not. Objectivity is not certain it's going to be this 100% all the time in every context. That's not the case. Like, for example, let me put it like this. Murder is bad, but killing in self-defense is not wrong.
But that's not murder. Killing in self-defense
anything.
isn't murder.
Anything. I could take that and apply it to anything. Like, for example, lying is wrong, but lying to defend someone who's going to die is not wrong. That's not wrong because you're saving a life. It's still
So
objective.
it's subjective.
No, it's subjective, but it depends on context.
That literally means it's subjective.
No,
if
it
it's
does not.
Subjective based on the context. If it changes based on the context, that means it is subjective.
That's not what subjective versus objective morality is.
Okay.
It's based on contextual. Like if I said subjective morality, what subjective morality is it's where each person holds their own view of morality. It is not, depending on the context, stuff could alter here. Guess what? That is still objective. If the context my camera just froze. If the context alters the outcome, or I guess the morality of something, if it always alters the outcome of it, or if the context always alters the morality of it, then it's still objective. Because it always does it.
That doesn't make any sense though, based on what you've said, because you said lying is wrong objectively, but lying to save a life is okay, it's good. But that's not, then that means that lying is subjective. It's subjective if it's good or bad.
Do you understand? Can you define subjective for me?
Subjective means it changes based on the context or based on the person. Like there's many things that could change how somebody would view it.
What?
Something objective doesn't change. Like you believe that always remain true.
So you believe that subjectivity comes down to, and it applies to context as well.
Yes. Because, all right, just like we said, like the example you use, killing people is wrong, but killing in self-defense is good. It's okay. That's fine.
Exactly. And if that always holds true, then that's still objectively true.
That's not always holds true. No, I'm saying that killing is wrong except in certain situations. That means that killing somebody isn't always bad. It's subjective based on the context surrounding it. Yeah,
this is what you're doing. You're taking one thing, like a broad thing, like killing or murder or this or that. And what you're doing is you're saying, okay, you have to make a choice. Is it good or bad? That's objective. That's it.
That's not
in reality
subjective.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is like
you said it's subjective. You said good or bad is objective. It's subjective.
I'm applying it to my own context. What I'm saying is you're saying that if I don't make the choice between it being good or bad, then it's subjective.
No. If you say that killing is wrong and that's an objective statement, that means that killing is wrong 100%.
Exactly. So you're grouping it. You're doing it like an overall grouping organization of it. When in reality, it's context dependent. It is still objective. Like for example,
so it's subjective at that point.
No, because you're honing in on a decision. Like for example, let me just give this example. Let's imagine God said 100% of the time, killing in self-defense is not wrong. Does that mean that killing in self-defense is objectively not wrong?
Yes.
Okay. So if it was the same case that lying to save another person is objectively not wrong, does that mean it's objectively not wrong?
At that point, you can't say lying is objectively bad or objectively.
You just agree with me that killing. You just
you said the statement killing in self-defense is always good. It's always okay, right?
Yes.
So the statement is killing in self-defense. The objective is that it is always good.
Okay.
So if that remains true, that remains true. But then you can't say killing in self-defense is always right, but killing is wrong, and that's objective. That's not true because you're adding a subjective statement to it when you say that.
So you're making a category error. You're making a category error because you're grouping. Again, you're grouping things that are context dependent. Like I'm going to repeat it again. If God said 100% of the time, lying to protect someone is okay, then objectively lying to protect someone is okay. That's objective.
Right. But if the question is lying good or bad? If you say that lying objectively is bad because God says lying, don't lie to people, but then you can't really make that. Those are two conflicting statements because now you're saying lying in defense of somebody else is good, but lying as an objective is bad. That doesn't make sense. Those are two conflicting statements.
No, so it's
with the
an
second
overall
statement,
generalization. It's an
no,
overall
but
generalization.
but
So
it's,
when we say lying is bad, we're saying 99.9% of the time it is bad. We can make that generalization. Usually people do stuff like that. Usually people will round up or say, okay, because of the fact that this is bad, for example, grape, right? That is always bad. We can say that is always bad. Killing, we can't say that's always bad necessarily, right? But as a Christian, if you ask a Christian, hey, is killing bad? They're probably going to say, yeah, that's bad. But if we get into the nitty gritty of it and we start talking about context specific things, then of course we can fall back. But that doesn't mean it's not objective if still objectively it holds that in that situation, that outcome is objective.
it's not though. When you say that there's ways that you can go from it being bad to good, that means it's subjective. It depends on the context. You can't have, it's not objective. Killing people is bad is an objective statement. If you're saying that is 100% of the times killing people is bad, that's objective. That's the only way it's objective is if it's 100% of the time. If there's anything that could change it from being bad to good, that means it's subjective. It depends on the subject.
No, bro. I'm gonna put it to you.
I don't
like,
get
I'm gonna
how
put
this
it to
is
you. I'm
so
gonna.
difficult.
It's not difficult. I just need you to understand. Things can be context dependent and still objective. Things can be context dependent and still objective if their outcome is still objective. Like again, if I lie to you, I'm gonna say it again. If God says it is 100% all the time objectively okay to lie to someone to protect the life of another, and then you lie to someone, then it's objectively okay to do that. It's still objective. It still holds objectively.
Right, but if you're saying
because
that lying is objectively
it.
bad, if you're saying lying is objectively bad, but then you have reasons. Yeah, it's not overall. It's literally what you're saying. If you say lying is bad, point blank, that is you're making an objective statement. But if you say lying is bad,
all would say immediately lying is bad.
Yeah, but we're just using it as an example. Reason as an example. I'm just trying to prove the point that you don't believe in objective morality if you think that it's subject to change. That's literally the point.
So wait a second. I'm just gonna get your view on this. You think that someone has to 100% think that in every context something that is stated holds in every scenario, and that's the only way it's objective?
If you say that it is objective, then yes.
Okay,
that is the definition of objectivity.
If someone says lying is bad, what they're saying, they're generalizing it. Lying is not always 100% bad,
right? But you're the one who believes in objective morality, right? I believe in subjective morality, so I understand that things change.
You have no basis to even believe that.
What do you mean? I literally said Christians can't even agree on the morals that they're supposed to follow. There's 10,000 denominations of Christianity. Even Christians can't agree about what their God says.
Yeah, so you're appealing to other denominations.
You're just literally making dude, no.
You're just appealing to what other people believe.
Hear me out, bro.
No. Because wait. Again, I'm gonna go ahead.
You're making a claim. I need to be able to defend myself from the claim.
Go ahead.
My claim is that you said that I don't have any basis for having subjective morals.
Can you repeat what you said? You like cut out.
Okay, so you're saying that hello, can you hear me? We're good?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good.
All right. You said that I have no basis for morals being subjective. And my rebuttal to that is that even within Christianity, if y'all can't agree 100% on something to the point where there's 10,000 denominations of your religion, that shows you don't even believe in subjective or objective morality. You're not paying attention though. You're not paying attention.
No, okay.
If there was only one denomination of Christianity, and that one denomination is amongst all Christians, and they all believe the same thing, you'd have a better shot at saying that you believe in objective morality. But the morals are so up in the air when it comes to Christianity that Baptists don't agree with Jehovah's Witnesses, and everyone just disagrees with each other because they can't. It's not objective. It's not written in stone to the point where you can say, "Oh, this is 100% of the times God is right."
You're cutting out like super bad. I'm not gonna lie. I got a decent amount of it. All right, I'm gonna go through your point. The first thing is you're committing a guilt by association fallacy.
Is that
You're
even
saying
a
that
fallacy?
Christianity can't decide on morality because of these denominations. Yes, because you're saying that because they can't decide on subjective morality, all these denominations, all of a sudden now Christianity can't even decide in general.
They can't. No, they
First
can't
of all,
decide on
I'm
morality.
mostly alone.
Not in general. On morality, they can't
Exactly, but what
agree
you're
with each other.
well, first of all, but this is different when we're talking about denomination specific things. Like, for example, Catholics and Orthodox, they claim to be the one true church. If anything, I'm closest to being an Eastern Orthodox. I'm like an inquirer. So I believe in the Eastern Orthodox mindset. I believe in that paradigm. I believe in that morality. It doesn't matter that these other denominations went off track. It doesn't matter. That's a guilt by association. We're sticking with what I believe is the one true church, the Orthodox Church. So why are we going off and judging it on other
All right,
denominations?
so you're saying that all the other denominations are 100% wrong because you're 100% right.
Well, can you name one thing morally that they disagree on?
Well, when it comes, I mean, I don't know between the churches. I'm just making a point that they can't even agree with each other. The religion in itself cannot agree with each other about morality.
So name one thing that they can't agree on.
All right, well, I would take Jehovah's Witnesses because that's what I know.
No, they're not Christians. They're not Christians.
They are Christians.
They are not.
They believe in Jesus Christ,
heretics,
bro.
And they are
okay, but listen,
we do not accept them as Christians. No,
but you don't accept them as Christians. But
nobody does.
Nobody does. They do.
It doesn't matter if they.
But this is
you're proving
my point right now. They are Christians because they believe in Jesus.
Oh my goodness gracious! So that makes you Christian?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if you're a raging heretic. Hey, what if I real quick? What if I worship Satan but also believe Jesus was God? Am I Christian?
Do you understand that almost every other denomination?
If I worship Satan but also believe Jesus is God, am I Christian?
I mean, I guess so. Maybe. I don't know. There's probably a branch of Christianity. There's 10,000 branches. Maybe one of them worships Satan but believes in God, Jesus. I don't know.
But you do understand, to be qualified as a Christian, you must follow Christ's teachings. If you do not follow Christ's teachings, like the Jehovah's Witnesses,
they try to.
Then you are kicked. It doesn't matter if they try.
All right, but you're making that statement yourself. What authority do you have to say that they're not Christians? It's like I'm just made a point.
People.
Okay, but they believe that they're Christians, bro, and
it doesn't matter. Hey, bro, if I believe I'm a professional NBA player, am I a professional NBA player?
That's not even close to the same thing.
Answer the question.
No,
if I believe,
but that's
okay,
not
exactly.
Even, no.
So it doesn't matter what they think. If the facts prove
they
otherwise,
they follow their version of the Bible.
Their
just
version, exactly. They pervert the Bible. They pervert the Bible.
Okay, I agree with you, bro. I agree with you, but they're still Christians.
So they're not Christians. No, they're not.
They're Christians, but you don't like what they say. That's fine.
No,
I get you.
They're just objectively.
I'm making the point
that
Aaron, that's one.
Aaron, are they Christians? Aaron, are they Christians?
No, they insert things into the Bible, and they very clearly do not follow what Jesus said about himself. So I would have to disagree.
On their own website, they say that they're Christians.
Brother, it doesn't matter. You're going to bias Jehovah's Witnesses websites to claim that they're
every
Christian.
Religion is biased. What do you mean? Every religion's
biased. We got to compare it to what? We got to compare it to the facts of the Bible. If they do not follow the Bible, they're not Christian, bro.
Bro,
if they don't follow
they
the Bible,
say that they're Christian. This is a corporation that spans across the world, but you think that you have the right to say that they're not Christian. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I want you to back
I recognize them as a cult, bro. I know they're a doomsday
cult. Just back up for a second.
But I think all of Christianity is a doomsday cult.
Back up for a second. I need you to listen to yourself. You're saying because they think that they're Christian, then they're Christian, right?
They they read the Bible and recognize Jesus' existence.
That's wrong.
Bro, I was a Jehovah's Witness for like 13, 14
I don't
years.
Care, bro. That doesn't mean nothing. That doesn't mean that
this
you're
is
a Christian.
even besides the point. We're not arguing Jehovah's Witnesses. I was
but I'm asking
you to use them as an example.
No, you're not.
You're not supposed to agree with it, bro. You don't agree with any other denomination.
Show me within Christianity where there is a dispute on something in morality between real Christians. I'm not talking about crazy heretical Christians. I'm talking about actual Christians, even Orthodoxy. Show me.
I would have to ask around.
But so notice how you made the claim and you don't have any evidence, bro.
I was going to use Jehovah's Witnesses, but apparently I can't.
Yeah, you can't because they're not Christian.
They are Christians, bro. They're a branch of Christianity.
No,
They're
they're
one
not.
of
They're
the
a heretical
10,000
cult.
denominations.
They're
You
heretical cult.
believe 9,999 other branches of Christianity are heretical because you think that yours is above theirs. So everything is heretical to you. That's not your
So
denomination.
show me within orthodoxy where there's
I
a
don't know
dispute.
orthodoxy. I was not an orthodox.
Exactly. Because
I don't know
do
your
you
in
understand
group,
how dumb
bro.
this is, bro?
You don't
Do you
understand
how
how
dumb this is?
I was going to ask you the same thing because
You don't
you think
understand how dumb this is.
9,999 other denominations of Christianity are heretical because you
Okay.
don't believe in them, correct?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so everything is heretical except for your in group. I'm not in your in group, so I can't use
So
examples from your in
don't
group.
argue against my in group when you don't know nothing about my in group.
But if we're talking about objective morality, which was my original point, my point was that even if your religion can't agree with morality,
You're
because there's
grouping
10,000 groups of them,
hasty generalization, you're grouping.
it's Christianity, isn't it? Is it Christianity or is it not?
What?
We're talking about Christianity, correct?
Yes, we're talking about Christianity.
Okay, so yes, I'm going to group all of the 10,000 denominations
I'm saying
into
you're
one
grouping
group.
line. You're grouping morality. Listen to me. We don't say, at least we don't say it in the precise sense that all the time, 100% of the time, lying is wrong. You're taking this lying and you're saying that if it doesn't exactly follow one answer throughout every situation in history, then it is not objective. That's not what objective morality is.
We're talking about objectivity, so that's why I'm using that point of line. We could talk about something like killing too, but my point is that if you believe in objective morality, you believe that the morals don't change with time, place, or person. It's an objective statement. That means it's unchanging. A subjective statement changes depending on the subject at hand. That's what subjectivity is.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a question real quick. Again, if I take lying, right? Let's just say God took lying and he said, okay, in this situation, it's wrong. In this situation, it's permissible. In this situation, it's wrong. And he did that. I'm just wondering, is that now objective in each situation, context dependent?
Wait, is what objective?
Lying.
Well, run me through the example again.
Let's say God took different situations and he said, in this situation, it's wrong. In this situation, it's morally permissible. In this situation, it's wrong.
That means lying is subjective.
Real quick. Real quick. Context specific is lying objective.
It's not. No, it's subjective.
How?
Because it's okay to do in certain situations.
Bro.
Based on the example you just gave me.
Means, bro. No, it's not. If he objectively shows in specific situations where it can be morally permissible, that doesn't mean it's subjective. That means it's subjective depending on context, bro.
Dude, you can't say objective depending on context. That means it's subjective. It's subject to the context.
Okay, subjective means I take something and I view it a specific way completely different from other views, or I just have my own views. Like, for example, if I thought killing was fine, or at least killing was fine for the most part, that's subjective. Right?
Yes.
That's not an objective morality saying killing is bad, context specific, boom, here's it can be permissible, boom, here
no, there's no context specific to something objective.
Bro. Okay,
there's no context specific. That if you're saying that it's context specific, that means it is subjective. I don't understand why this is a roadblock. That's literally the definition of subjectivity. Let's define subjectivity. I'm gonna define it and try to find as many freaking ways that I can so that we can see that they all line up to say that no, it changes depending on the situation. The quality of state of being subjective. State of being subjective. Let's see what subjective means. Dependence on or taking place in a person's mind rather than the external world. Based on a given person's experience, understanding, and feelings. What? This is not proving you right.
Reread that. It
dependent on or taking place inside a person's mind rather than the external world.
Rather than the external world. So if it's based on the external world, then it can be still objective.
What are you talking about, bro?
Reread it again. Reread the definition again.
Dependent on or taking place inside a person's mind rather than the external world. So that was just one definition of it.
Right. Oh, now you're gonna run to a different definition.
No, we have to look at all of them because it might
Wait, so you don't accept that definition?
I do accept that definition. It doesn't prove you right.
How does it not?
Because you're saying that
It's outside of
Objective
from the
things
external
can
world.
change.
So it's still objective. It's not
Wait, what?
changing. It's context specific, bro.
Context,
What are you talking
yes,
about?
that's what the definition of subjectivity is.
Read the definition again, bro. Read the definition
of subjective.
Slow.
Dependent on or taking place in a person's mind rather than the external world.
Stop.
Okay.
So
Okay.
can you agree with me that subjectivity means if it takes place in your mind, you think it to be true, but it's actually not, it doesn't have anything to do with your outside external situation.
Yeah, sure. That's what it's saying, yeah.
Okay, so therefore, if it does have something to do with your outside external situation, then it can still be objective, no?
It can still be objective?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. That means that,
Oh
like,
my
yeah, it
goodness.
doesn't depend
Thank
on
you, bro. Thank you. That's
but that
what I'm
doesn't mean
saying.
context specific means objectivity.
That's what
That
external
literally
world
objective.
means.
No, it doesn't.
Oh
Context
my
specific.
goodness. Then what does
Context
external world
specific-
mean?
Context specific means depending on the context.
It didn't say that. Reread the definition and tell me what it
What does context specific mean?
Reread the definition.
We've read it like 4 times, bro. That's condescending as fuck. I read it. What does context specific mean? Depending on the context,
what's going on around. What's going
Yes.
on around in the external
What's going
world.
on? That means depending on the situation.
Okay.
The external
Exactly. That's
world,
what the definition
bro.
said, bro. What are you not getting?
All right. So I don't get why we're struggling on objectivity.
Can we just move on, bro? Because I mean, like,
yes. Okay. So
Can I ask
my
a
main
question?
point of even bringing all this. Oh, go ahead. What's your question?
All right. This is tracking back to what you and Aaron were talking about in your debate. What is your epistemic foundation for the existence of logic?
It works, so we use it.
It
works
so
without
you-
any. Yeah, it works. If you think logically, if you act upon a logical way of finding little truths here and there to build up a larger picture, it works. So
Okay.
it doesn't. I don't get what I still don't understand why that was such a big deal.
No, hold on. I'm just gonna make sure.
Yeah.
The reason why logic exists is because it works, right?
No, logic exists, and we know because it works.
Okay, we know logic exists because it works, right?
Yes.
Okay. So would it be wrong then if you asked me how a basketball exists and I said, well, we know it works?
But it's not a physical concept. It's
Okay.
something that only exists inside of our heads.
So I'm confused here. You're saying that logic works, we know it to work, therefore it exists, right?
It's a process that works, yes.
It's a process based on what? Reality, no?
It's based on, yes, reality.
Reality. Okay. What is that reality? It is consistent universal patterns.
What do you mean
justify,
patterns?
For example, the law of non-contradiction. It is a pattern that can never be broken. It is the law of identity. We see
law
this.
Of logic, yes.
Yes. Okay. We see this microphone. It exists. It is it. This is a pattern that we see with literally everything. So these patterns that we see, yes, logic is a process, but it's a process that we derive from reality. No?
Yes.
Okay. So now justify that reality.
It's here.
It's here. So reality is reality?
Yeah, reality is reality. I don't have any explanation as to why there is no need for it to be a why, because we don't know why, and it still works.
So your presupposition on logic is that it just exists. So let's imagine your worldview is a house. Presuppositions are your foundation. If you cannot justify your presuppositions, that foundation breaks and your house falls down, bro. You ain't got no worldview.
Well, logic would be the medium for us to even have a house. There couldn't be a house without logic.
I'm asking how it exists. You just said reality is reality.
It does, bro. Like, I don't want to get into this thing of, we could possibly be a brain in a vat. Like, yeah, we sure could possibly be a brain in a vat, but that doesn't change our lives. Reality is reality. I don't want to go into this philosophical BS about it.
I mean, of course you don't, because bro, because you know it destroys atheism.
It doesn't destroy atheism.
It does.
And again, atheism is not a religion. Christianity is a religion.
I don't care.
And you mark me as an atheist. I'm a non-believer. I don't believe in your religion.
Then cool.
I'm not in a religion.
Non-belief. It destroys non-belief.
It doesn't, because you haven't proven that there's a God. And you haven't proven that its name is Yahweh. That's some craziness.
Well, okay. Well, first of all, that's by deductive reasoning, right? So if I can show you that there is no evidence of the contrary, right? With God, we know that God is a necessary Now, I'm going to actually
You
give you.
can't show that there isn't any
Hold on,
evidence to the
hold on.
contrary. That's
Real quick.
literally an impossible task.
Oh, so okay. If that's the case, then how does logic exist without God?
Because I don't believe in a God, and logic still works perfectly fine for me.
It doesn't matter if it works. I'm asking how it exists in your worldview.
It exists because because I can follow logical thinking processes and get desired results. I can predict the results.
Doesn't exist because I can go and play with it, bro. Like, do you see the disconnect here?
What do you
see the
know?
disconnect?
That doesn't make any sense because you're talking about a physical thing versus a way of thinking.
Yeah,
one's physical, one exists in reality.
One is based
but it's not a physical thing. It's not a physical thing.
Exactly.
Like
it's immaterial. And you cannot justify immaterial universal truths that are consistent in your worldview.
I can't. Something like reality doesn't need an explanation. It's here.
Oh, it
we
doesn't.
live in it. No, it doesn't, because it still works without knowing why.
But I'm going to just put it like this. If you go your whole life, let's just assume God is real. If you go your whole life as an atheist and you just say, well, I don't know how reality got here. It just works. It's just whatever. I'm just going to move on. Do you understand the type of philosophical implications that would put in your life? Now you just don't have any justification. You're not even going to worry about it. Oh, it just exists. So you don't want to get into
why does God have to exist in this example? Why does God existing have to be a thing?
Because without God, logic wouldn't exist.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would your God be able to do illogical things if
he can't do?
Why couldn't your God? He can do illogical things. He made a pregnant virgin.
One.
Yeah, a pregnant virgin.
Illogical.
It is. If we're not talking about the technology used today, it is highly illogical for people 2,000 years ago to have a pregnant virgin.
So you will agree with me though that a pregnant virgin is illogical, but it depends on I guess external factors, like for example, technology.
It depends on technology. Yes, they didn't have the technology to inseminate a woman who was a virgin back then.
Awesome. So in the same way, if God, who is way better than technology, who literally gave us the tools to create technology, if he really does exist, then also another good outlier would be him actually being the causer of a pregnant virgin.
No, we're talking about logic, and you said that your God doesn't do anything illogical, but he does do illogical things. He could turn sticks into snakes. Let's use the stick into snakes because we're talking about the technology thing. A stick into a snake. Where's the logic in that?
What law of logic does that break?
Oh, the law of identity. A stick can't become a snake. A stick and a snake are two different things.
Oh, wait, you don't even know the law of identity. It's
one
the same
thing
cannot
at the same
be
time. Another thing.
Same thing at the same time.
Okay, so a stick turning into
at the same time. It's turning into a snake, bro. Hey, I got a question. Is a tree hey, hold on. Is a tree being a sapling and also a tree at the same time illogical?
That's part of the growth cycle. A stick turns into a snake.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked.
No, that's not illogical. A sapling turning into a tree is not illogical. Because
I didn't ask that. I said at the same time. If a tree is both a sap and a tree, the entire tree at the same time, is that illogical?
That is illogical, yes.
Okay, but wait a second, because the sap actually becomes a tree over time, no? And that's not illogical.
But they're not at the same time. The law of identity has to be at the
neither
same
was
time.
the stick into the snake.
The stick turned into a snake.
It turned into the same way a sap turns into a tree.
Okay, so you're telling me that sticks can turn into snakes, and that's just fine. That's
God
logical.
can do whatever you, bro. You're
saying
logical.
Okay. If you say that God can do whatever you want, that means that your God can do illogical things.
No, bro. What law of logic does it break?
The law of identity. A stick cannot become a snake. A snake is not in the life cycle of a stick. Like a sapling is in the life cycle of a tree.
I just proved that wrong, bro.
You proved it. You're making no sense. You're saying sticks can turn into snakes, and that's not illogical.
That's not illogical. What law of logic does it break? You said law of identity. Law of identity. No, I'm going to educate some people here. Law of identity is being something and at the same exact time, right? So if
it instantaneously turn into a
real quick. If the stick was both the stick was both the stick and the snake at the same exact time, then yes, it would be illogical.
It had to be. It had to be if a stick turns into a snake, it had to be a snake because there's no way you could get the biology of a snake out of a stick. That makes literally zero sense. You have to know this. You have to know that you and I can throw sticks at the floor 1,000,000 times and they will never turn into snakes.
With the power of God.
Understand that? Okay,
Yeah, we
so
can't do it.
summon. All right, so summon the power of God, like they did in the Bible.
Don't test the Lord.
Oh, so we can't test it. We can't
Yes,
test it. So
you keep
but the
falling
only
into
way
your
we
own
can
trap.
know things is by testing them. So we can't test your God. So that means
Yo, real
it's
quick, stop,
illogical to
stop.
believe in your God. Thank you for proving that
Real
point.
quick.
It's untestable.
No, you're cutting out. Yeah, I'm trying to help you. You just cut out like that entire sentence. Can you like restate?
So your God is untestable, correct?
Huh?
Your God is untestable?
No, we can test the things of Scripture, which is His word.
No, but you can't test him. We can't test the things in the scripture because the scripture says a stick turned into a snake. We can't test that.
Okay. Now hold on. I'm just let me explain. Right. I'm not trying to be rude, but just be quiet. Let me explain this. Okay. Please. All right.
Okay.
Now let's go over this. You're saying your claim is a stick turning into a snake is illogical, and you're saying it breaks the law of identity.
Yes.
Here's the thing, though. You also agree with me that a sap can turn into a tree without breaking the law of identity. Okay. In the same way, a stick can turn into a snake.
Of the same thing.
A stick turning that just shows that a stick turning into a snake is not illogical. It is impossible. It is impossible, but it's not illogical. We have to make a distinction. I don't think you know the distinction. You don't know the distinction between illogical and impossible.
It is illogical
really
because listen, logic means like a baby snake.
Why are we even
and
arguing logic? We don't even have a justification for logic.
You're saying that your God is logical, but I'm showing you how it is illogical, and you're saying BS like sticks can turn into snakes, and that's not illogical.
That's not illogical. You can't even justify.
That is highly illogical because where do you get the biology?
Justify logic
from a stick,
bro.
No, I just asked you a question. How do you get the biology?
Again, you're mixing up. I'm answering. You're mixing up impossibility and illogical.
I'm showing how it is illogical because a stick doesn't have the biology of a snake. Logic means that you can go from this impossibility to the next step, and you can follow these steps. This would be how we turn a stick into a snake. You found a logical process of getting the stick to turn into a snake. That is illogical because you can't do that. You can't turn it to stick into a living snake that can fight and eat other snakes.
Oh my goodness, that is literally impossible. That is the definition of impossible. Is you can't.
It's illogical because
it's not illogical. All right, I'm gonna use this example real quick. I'm gonna use it one more time. Now, actually, let me try to think of something else that I can use here. Let's do seed. Right, a seed cannot be both a seed and a flower at the same time.
Wait 1 second. Before we do this, you have to use two things that are not in the same life cycle because a stick is not in the same life cycle of a snake.
So I'm showing it's not illogical. It is impossible.
It is because you're using a logical statement. Yes, a seed turns into a flower, but a seed doesn't turn into a fucking elephant.
Okay, and okay, that was fun.
Yeah, but you see where I'm going. You have
to
understand
that's not.
that.
But hey, if it's the
thing
will
that
of God, real quick, if the seed was both a seed and an elephant at the same time, that'd be illogical. But if God turned the seed into an elephant, that is not illogical. That is impossible
because a seed doesn't have what you need to make an elephant. You can't.
That's impossible. It's impossible.
Step 3.
Hey, tell me the difference between impossible and illogical.
I mean, they're both like you can't have one without the other. If something's impossible, it is probably illogical. All right, so name something that's illogical and impossible, or not impossible.
Illogical and not impossible?
Yes.
I would say in that case, yes, you wouldn't be able to have it. But your claim was that you can't have something that's impossible that's also logical. You said you can't have them both.
You can't have an illogical and or illogical is shoulder to shoulder with impossible.
Okay, let's stop there. So you're saying that something can't be impossible while not being illogical. You're saying that they have to follow.
I mean, I'd like to hear an example of how that's wrong.
Like the example of the pregnant virgin.
Yeah, that's illogical and impossible. Yes.
It's impossible, not illogical.
It is illogical.
This is where I was getting at.
If we're talking about 2,000 years ago, it is illogical and impossible.
So wait a second. So the literal power of God 2,000 years ago is weaker than technology today?
No, I'm saying that it is impossible without technology. You cannot make a pregnant virgin without technology.
God, I'm just letting you know, man. You know, we can do it with technology, but we can't do nothing with you, bro.
All right. Well, you could. I mean, I'm just having a discussion. It sounds like you're in your feelings right now.
I'm not in my feelings. You're just making stupid claims, bro. What are you talking about?
I'm making stupid claims. You're saying that a stick turning into a snake is not illogical. That's one of the most stupid things I've heard today.
You literally cannot give me the law of logic. You said law of identity. That doesn't break the law of identity. You don't even know what the law of identity is.
the seed into an elephant. If you can't turn one thing that doesn't have the biology needed to form the next thing into something without it being illogical. It is illogical for a seed to turn into an elephant.
What's the definition of the of law of identity?
One thing cannot be another thing at the same time, simultaneously.
Oh, wait a second. At the same time. So wait, if a snake turns into a snake, it's not at the same time. It's turning into the snake. If it was both
but a stick and a
snake
snake are totally different things that don't have the same life cycle.
Oh my God! You literally just agreed. You literally just said yeah.
Oh, but did you hear everything else that followed, or are you just?
It doesn't matter. That's irrelevant because we're talking about illogicality, bro.
Yes, illogicality. A stick turning into a snake is highly illogical.
Justify logic.
Justify logic. It works. I can do the logical things. Yes, it is. I can do I can follow a logical process of things, and I can predict what will happen if I follow a logical step.
Why does it work
in a logical process? Because it's logical.
Why?
Yeah, it works because it's if you follow logical
processes. That's viciously
I can
circular.
Predict.
Oh, that's a viciously circular.
But you're saying how you're saying justify it? How else do I justify it? Then 100% of the times it'll work. If you follow the logical process.
No, literally, I asked you what your justification of logic was. You said, "Oh, it works." Why does it work? Because it's logical. Do you realize how viciously circular that is?
I don't need a God introduced. I don't understand where God.
So then, what is your justification without God, bro? You're just doing. You're either
it's nature.
Or
it's nature.
It's nature.
Even if humans weren't here, it would still work.
Justify that nature.
I don't need to
justify that nature.
I don't need to.
Oh, you don't need to. Okay, so when we're
I don't need to, and it'll still work perfectly fine without justifying it.
Bro, go back, talk to Aristotle, Socrates. Let them know that they should have never even tried. Like, they should have just been like, when it came to presuppositions and logic, they should have been like, well, it works, so let's move on. Do you know how unadvanced philosophy would be? And you don't even want to have a philosophical discussion because you can't justify.
Bro, I don't need to justify it, and it'll still be here. It'll still work.
It doesn't matter if it works, bro.
It does matter because that's a justification. Things in the Bible, like I can't throw a stick down at the floor and turn it into a snake.
And you couldn't even.
So that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Logic works if we follow a logical process. If it just said they threw sticks,
that logical process that you cannot justify, bro.
Oh my goodness, you
cannot justify it. Oh wait, so I can use it every day, use it however I want, use an argument. Yeah. I just don't have to have a justification.
You can use logic without having to justify why logic works.
I'm not disagreeing.
Logic is the justification. Logic is the justification for reality.
In philosophical discussion, you ought to have some sort of justification for your presuppositions. Otherwise, like I said, that is your foundation, which your presuppositions.
But you believe in a God that doesn't have any evidence. So what do you mean you have to have justification? You can't.
This is literally my
God
evidence.
Existing. Your evidence is that logic exists. How does logic exist? Because God does it.
Hey, hold on. I'm gonna give you the argument, right?
All right.
It goes like this: X is the necessary precondition to Y. Y therefore X. Another way I could say it is God is the necessary precondition for logic. Logic exists, therefore God exists. If logic exists,
when you're talking about circular, that's circular as fuck.
First of all, every worldview argument at the biggest level, at the paradigm level, is circular to an extent because it already assumes a method of justification.
You had an issue with my circular reasoning, but yours is
okay. There's a difference between circular and viciously circular, especially when it comes to my entire worldview.
Because you define it, bro. What?
No, because mine is based on my entire worldview as a whole. Yours is based simply on logic. Just on logic. When we hone in on logic, you have a viciously circular argument specifically for logic. I'm saying for God's existence as a whole, which is who I base my paradigm off of, he is the required precondition for logic to exist because you cannot give me any other justification for logic existing.
You don't need a justification for why logic works.
Oh, yeah.
If you can test things a million times and come up with the same results, and you're following a logical process, it works every time because it's part of nature. That's how nature acts.
I'm going to ask you a question. Does something working immediately imply that it's true or false?
You're going to have to give me an example of what you mean.
Logic. Because it works, does that immediately imply that it has a justification that you don't need to justify?
When it comes to logic, no, because logic is the form. Logic is how we justify things. You can't justify something without logic. Logic is like the playing field. It's like if you're playing a video game
That's even
you
worse
have
for you, bro.
if you're playing a video game, you have to have a level. Logic is the level that we're playing on. You don't need to know how or why it got there. That's just what all the rules are based on, is this level. It's logic is that foundation that exists because if we want to justify anything, you have to follow a logical process to get the justification. So it's like, how do you justify justifying? That's basically what you're saying to me. How do you justify
this is even worse for you
justification?
because you literally just admitted that everything that you base your life on is logic. That is your basic foundation, right? So if you cannot justify that presupposition that ultimately holds your worldview together, your worldview becomes destroyed because your foundation is destroyed. You can't even justify it without just saying, "Oh, reality is reality."
Does
Talk
logic?
to Plato
Yes,
about
reality
reality
is
is reality.
reality, bro. Reality is reality. Like we can talk about the brains
Bro,
and
you
the
would
fat
be
all
laughed
you
at
want.
in philosophical discussion. You'd be laughed at by any like real philosopher. If you really sit here and say reality is reality
I
because you
don't
cannot
care
give a
if people are gonna.
justification, and you
They would
know,
laugh at
no,
you for saying that. They would laugh at you for saying that the Earth is not flat. The church would definitely be laughing at you. That doesn't mean you're wrong.
what?
If you said the
The
Earth
Earth
was a
is
globe,
not
yeah,
flat.
the Earth, yeah, exactly. If you
So
say
notice,
that,
first of all,
back in the day, they used to laugh at you for saying that because the Bible says that the Earth is
yeah, that's a
flat.
complete red herring. That's a complete red herring.
I'm
fallacy.
using an example. So let's
The Bible
take it
never
away.
said the Earth was flat. No,
The
and
Bible says it's like
wait, this is a complete red herring. Wait a second. So, instead of going to historical times context, you're going to sit here. When I was talking about the justification of logic, you're going to immediately zoom to, oh wait, but look at this historical belief that everybody had that was flawed. And by the way, I'm not using philosophers laughing at you as an argument. I'm simply saying that what you're saying right now ultimately leads to an unjustified worldview that you can't even account for.
Yeah, dude, I don't need to justify it. Yes, it's unjustified why we are here.
So it's an
We
accident.
don't know. Yes.
Okay.
Not even an accident.
So,
It was just that's how
no, I didn't
things
say
work.
accident. I didn't say accident. I said axiom.
Oh, axiom.
Yeah.
Well, my point is that I don't have an explanation of why reality is
Do
reality.
you understand how that
I just
crumbles your worldview?
live in it.
Because
No.
wait a second, this is I just did an reductio ad absurdum to you. What that is, I just showed you that in your worldview, your ultimate justification is, well, it just is. It just is.
Yeah.
We don't know why. I'm not going to say a God created it. That's ridiculous, but it just exists, man.
Yes.
But that's more rational to believe than a God who created everything. Oh, it just exists.
Because if you think that a God created everything and it cares about its creations, you would have to justify natural disasters. You'd have to justify childhood.
Oh, so you're gonna
wait a second. Justify all this stuff because you're saying that your God is all loving and all knowing. So that means if it's all love, we should not find anything that is not love. But
look at this red herring.
Natural disasters, they happen.
We're talking about logic, and he goes to natural disasters, bro. Look at this.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, no, we're talking about worldviews, bro. We were talking about worldviews.
Exactly,
you're saying that I have no
reason
reason to accept my worldview, and I should believe in a God. If I believed in a God that created everything, that means that I believe there was nothing and then there was something. There was nothing and then a God just.
That's what you believe now.
First thing.
That's what you believe now.
No, I don't believe in the concept of nothing. I believe in the Big Bang, Big Crunch model, where it's like a heartbeat.
First of all, Big Bang was made by a
Christian. Contracts. What?
Big Bang was made by a Christian, bro. That theory was made by a Christian.
That doesn't matter, bro. If you didn't claim anything, if you claimed otherwise, you'd get killed.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that it matters or not. I'm just saying, like, do you understand how all your worldview ultimately falls upon either it just is, or you appeal to a Christian scholar's idea, or and for some reason that Christian scholar
believe in the Big Bang, so you can't claim that.
Okay, I'm not saying that has anything.
Yeah, you're trying to claim that. Oh, he was a Christian philosopher, right? Yeah, that doesn't matter. It doesn't. Okay, I don't give a damn about that. It's literally a moot point.
Of course you don't, because your entire claim is that, well, I don't believe in God. I believe in the Big Bang. Dude, a Big Bang philosopher literally created the Big Bang, but still believed in God. So why does that seem contradicting to you?
Okay, but I don't care what he believed in. I don't care. That's an appeal.
I'm just saying you're making it seem.
That's a fallacy.
No, I'm.
Wait, you're cutting out. I can't hear you.
Okay, and you're frozen.
I didn't hear anything you just said.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Am I good?
I can't. We can hear you. Yeah, you were just on.
You're
It
good
was
now.
just after he said it was an appeal to authority fallacy, and you were about to get into that.
All right. You know what? With you, Fro. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, I just want to say, man, I appreciate your time. I know it kind of got a little heated, but
It's all
I mean,
good,
man,
bro.
you
That's how
seriously.
these go, man. As long as we don't take it shit personal, because I'm still cool with y'all. We can talk about this some more if you want to at a later date. I'm good. I
100%,
just like talking about
100%.
this shit.
100%. I can tell we both get passionate about it. I really do. Hey, man, I really do
You're breaking up. I can't hear you. You said I
respect you
really what?
and your time. Like, you seriously time to sit here, and you don't have to give us your time to like come in here. You know what I mean? After work or whatever. And I really do respect that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no doubt, man. I respect y'all live streaming it. That's cool. Keep it up, man. And I hope you
Appreciate you.
keep talking to people. I hope you keep your mind open and you recognize, like, yeah, man, there's a lot more thoughts than inside of Christianity. There's a lot older religions than Christianity, and none of them really got it right because all of them have bullshit in it, like sticks turning into snakes. Just keep your mind open, bro.
All righty, man. Well, I'll catch you, bro.
All right, see you, man.
All right, see you. All right.
Yo, Caden, you
Yeah.
you cooked. I can't lie. What, dude? The fact that he didn't know what the law of identity was is kind of crazy. You see how
All right.
he couldn't do that, bro.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna catch y'all. Hey, I love y'all. Thank y'all for coming to the stream. We praise the Holy Trinity always. I think low key at first I was super nervous and like he was asking me questions about what was he asking me about at first?
He was asking
Oh,
you about
it
the
was morality, subjective morality.
yeah.
I was lucky so nervous like I couldn't think straight and I was like, oh, I can't even think what I'm doing right now. But
You cooked on that. You actually did
after
really good on that.
really, I thought I did worse than I did. Like low key, I was like, man, I'm getting
No,
cooked. I'm not living up to
you
expectations
were
right
like you. I understood it because you were saying that in it's context specific because in that specific context it's going to be objective, but in
now. Yeah,
another
like
context it'll still be objective.
exactly. Like if God determines something in specific situations that is objectively true always, then
Exactly.
it still holds. It's not like God said, okay, lying always evil. Like no, he didn't say that.
Yeah.
Killing always evil. Like no, that's not what he did.
Yeah, because
But
if his thing was that it was subjective, then it could be that to one person killing in self defense is wrong, and to another person killing in self defense is right. But if it's
mhm,
objectively right in every scenario, or if it's objectively right in self defense, then it is right, and that is still objective.
thank you. All right, well, appreciate y'all for hopping on the stream there, boys.